Well, our next guest, he is a Nashville-born and raised singer-songwriter who's written some big songs in country music right now. We're going to be talking about that. He's also releasing his debut EP called Meet Ryan Larkins, and that's exactly what we're doing. Ryan Larkins, good to see you.
Great to see you too.
What a talent, what a voice. First of all, we call you a unicorn because you've been born and raised in Nashville. That is not very common, even in this day and age.
Yes, ma'am, that's right. It's pretty wild being born and raised in Music City.
So were you always interested in music because of being born here in the area?
Yes, ma'am, but oddly enough, like I was born and raised in Nashville, Music City, but my dad was a Pentecostal pastor growing up, so we didn't listen to any secular music. We only listened to like gospel music. But when I was probably 21 years old, one of my good friends, he's like, man, we got to go try out for this show. It's called Can You Duet? We'll be the next Brooks and Dunn. And I was like, man, that sounds great. Who's Brooks and Dunn? And that went well, and just I fell in love with country music. I really did. I remember hearing Three Wooden Crosses and just the storytelling. That's what I fell in love with.
Three Wooden Crosses, the best. Of course, Randy Travis and Doug. Doug
Johnson.
Doug Johnson,
Yes,
who I just saw not too many days ago. But I have to say, was your father then supportive when you said, "Dad, this is what I want to do"? And
you know, he really was. And I remember, like, we have 3 children, my wife and I, and that's something about the grandkids, I think maybe is mellowed him out a little bit. Maybe so.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you went full on then, because happy is the man that holds the beer.
Right.
And you get to sing a song like that.
That's true. That's true.
One of the 5 songs on this EP, and I have to say, I love the song, of course, King of Country Music, because it really highlights that is the song.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I remember I was driving around Nashville one day. I was listening to like classic country music. I was listening to Merle, Willie, George Jones, George Strait, Patsy Cline, and I had my kids in the back seat. And so my oldest boy, he said, "Dad, who's the king of country music? Who's the greatest country singer of all time?" And it kind of threw me off. I was like, you know, there are so many great country singers, and when I think about the king of country music, it's hard to say. There are so many great artists, but then I was sitting at a red light on Charlotte Avenue, and it hit me kind of out of nowhere, like, I know exactly who the king of country music is. And so I wrote that song, and it's probably my favorite I've ever written.
Boy, it is a powerful song, and I have to tell you, this man, one of the best right now in music. I mean, you're going to be a force to deal with as far as your songwriting. Cody Johnson's The Painter right now at Country Radio. Tim McGraw, Hold On To It. That's on Tim's new album, Standing Room Only. I have to mention, Tim McGraw just honored with the ACM's Icon Award, and you know what he said? He wants to trade or change that phrase, that song is the best. He wants to make it the songwriter is the best.
That's amazing.
Which I thought was pretty neat.
I love that.
Talk about writing these songs and going, hey, well, you know, as a guy that's writing these hit songs right now, how do you know when to keep them for yourself and when to kind of let go of them?
You know, it's hard to know sometimes. But even like with The Painter, I remember just reading Cody Johnson's story about his wife, and you know, when a song connects with an artist that much, and just the way he sings that song, I'm thrilled that's his single at radio right now, and every time I hear it, I'm just, it gives me chills just thinking like he loves that song enough to make it his single, and people are loving it. So it's really amazing.
And I heard him say it sounds exactly like something that I would write. That's how much he relates to that.
Yes, ma'am. That's what's crazy. Like our stories are so similar. My wife and I, we've been married for 15 years, and I remember writing that song and just walking into the room that day, just talking about my wife and how she's just encouraged me this whole way, you know, and so I'm thankful for that.
She's the tough one. That's
Yes,
another
ma'am.
track on this EP. Also, I guess inspired by your wife. I know a lot of farmers right now would say that is our wives. Behind every man in your song, it's a better woman. I think that's the lyrics there.
Yes, ma'am. That's right. And that song, it is about my wife, and I've been playing that live and just seeing the response from women and men alike. You know, just this is a song for all the tough women out there. The women who are doctors, lawyers, teachers, it just, all the women who encourage us to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be.
You're so good. Gosh. Red Street Records, this man is on that label. That's Jay DeMarcus. Of course,
right.
you know him from Rascal Flatts. He's in the studio with you, producing you as well. So, boy, so much more music to come from you. I'm glad that you're going to stay with us. You're going to perform for us.
Yes, ma'am. I'm gonna play a song for y'all.
I love it. Ryan Larkins in the studio. You're not going to want to miss this performance.